For 8 years, I worked double shifts to pay my mother $1,500 a month so we wouldn't lose Grandma's house. Yesterday I found the final letter she hid from me, proving the mortgage was paid off in 2015 and the deed has been in my name the whole time. She thinks she's coming over to collect rent, but she's actually walking into a sheriff's eviction for $144,000 in stolen funds. I didn't scream when I found it. I didn't cry. I just sat there on the floor of the guest room closet. The smell of cedar and old lavender sachets filled my nose. It was a smell I associated with safety, with Grandma. But the paper in my hand smelled like betrayal. It wasn't just one letter. It was a stack. A bundle of envelopes bound together with a brittle rubber band that snapped the moment I touched it. They were all addressed to me. Stephanie. My mother Linda had told me they were lost in the move. Or that Grandma had stopped writing because her dementia had gotten too bad. She doesn't remember you, Steph, Mom would say, sipping her white wine, looking mournfully out the window. It's a blessing, really. You don't want to see her like that. Just focus on working. We need the money for the house. So I worked. I missed prom to pick up a shift at the diner. I skipped the senior trip. I didn't go to the state college I got into because I couldn't afford the dorms and the rent. Mom demanded to keep the bank away. The mortgage is variable, honey, she'd tell me, eyes wide with performative stress. The rates went up again. I don't know how we're going to make it this month. I was 18 then. I'm 26 now. Do the math. $1,500 a month. 12 months a year. 8 years. That is $144,000. That is my youth. My education. My social life. All funneled into my mother's bank account to pay off a mortgage that didn't exist. I looked down at the final letter in my hand. It was dated 3 days before Grandma died in 2015. The handwriting was shaky, spiderweb thin but legible. My dearest Stephanie, I know your mother can be difficult. She has always struggled with money, and I worry she sees things that aren't hers as opportunities. That is why I have set up the trust the way I have. The house is yours, sweetheart. Paid in full. I sent the final check to the bank last week. The deed will transfer to you automatically on your 18th birthday. Do not let her sell it. Do not let her charge you to live in your own home. It is your sanctuary. Love, Grandma. I read it 3 times. My hearing went out. Just a high-pitched whine in my ears. The house is yours. Paid in full. Do not let her charge you. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text message. Mom, 10:42 a.m. coming by at 4 to pick up the check. Don't be late this time, I have a nail appointment. I looked at the time. It was 11:15 a.m. I had less than 5 hours. I stood up. My knees popped. I felt surprisingly light. Usually when Mom came over I was a wreck. I'd spend the morning scrubbing the baseboards, hiding my laundry, making sure the house looked presentable, so she wouldn't criticize how I was keeping her investment. Not today. Today I didn't clean. I walked to the kitchen. I opened my laptop. And I opened the spreadsheet I've kept for 8 years. Every payment. Every confirmation number. Every time she borrowed, an extra 50 for groceries. I looked at the total. Then I looked at the letter. And then, for the first time in my life, I called a locksmith before I called a lawyer. But I'm getting ahead of myself. To understand why I didn't just burn the house down with her inside, which honestly crossed my mind, you have to understand the power dynamic. You have to understand Linda. My mother is beautiful. Not in a warm, maternal way. In a sharp, curated way. She's 52 but says she's 45. She sells high-end real estate in the city, driving a white Mercedes C-Class that smells like vanilla and ambition. She has always been the victim. When Dad left when I was 6, it wasn't because she drained their savings to start a boutique that failed in 3 months. It was because he couldn't handle a strong woman. When Grandma got sick, Mom was the martyr. She moved us in to care for her. I was 16 then. I did the night feedings. I changed the sheets. I read to Grandma when she was lucid. Mom did the finances. It's so expensive, Steph, she would sigh, rubbing her temples. The meds. The special food. Grandma didn't save enough. I'm putting everything on my credit cards. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? She was my mom. She wore designer clothes, sure, but she told me those were business expenses, necessary to sell houses. You have to look the part to get the commission, honey, she'd say, smoothing down a blazer that cost more than my first car. When Grandma died, I was shattered. She was the only person who ever really looked at me, who asked me what I was reading. Mom was shattered too, but differently. She was shattered about the debt. Grandma left us in a hole, she told me at the funeral, wearing oversized Gucci sunglasses to hide dry eyes. The house is underwater. The bank wants to foreclose. I think we have to sell. I panicked. This house was everything. The garden where I learned to grow tomatoes. The attic where I painted. No, I begged. Please, Mom. I'll work. I'll pay. She looked at me then. A long, calculating look. I remember she pursed her lips like she was tasting a sour grape. It would have to be a lot, Stephanie, she said softly. Market rate in this neighborhood is high. To cover the mortgage and the arrears. I'd need at least $1,500. Can you do that? At 18. I nodded. I'll get a second job. And I did. I worked days at a call center. Nights waiting tables at a diner off the highway. For 8 years. I lived in the small back bedroom. Mom moved out to a condo downtown to be closer to her office, but she kept the master bedroom in Grandma's house locked. Storage, she called it. She came by once a month. Like clockwork. To collect the check. Sometimes if I was short, like the month I needed a root canal, she would sigh. A heavy, tragic sigh. I can cover you this time, Steph. But I'll have to take it out of my retirement fund. You know I'm sacrificing my future for you to live here, right? Guilt. That was her currency. She printed it daily. And I bought it. I thanked her. I apologized. I promised to work harder. Last year I asked if we could refinance. Maybe lower the payments. You don't have the credit score to be on the loan, Steph, she snapped. And I can't touch it or the rate will explode. Just leave the finances to me. You just worry about your rent. Rent. She called it rent. I walked over to the county clerk's online portal. My hands were shaking, but not from fear. From adrenaline. I typed in the address. Search. There it was. Owner, Stephanie Miller Trust. Last transfer date, August 14, 2015. Lien status, free and clear. I refreshed the page. Maybe it was a glitch. Maybe I was reading it wrong. I clicked on tax history. Property taxes, paid. Bill sent to Linda Miller, P.O. Box 492. She had diverted the tax bills to her P.O. box. But the deed? The deed was in the trust. My trust. And the trustee? I clicked the document. Trustee, Linda Miller until beneficiary turns 18. Upon 18th birthday, full control transfers to beneficiary. I turned 18 2 weeks after Grandma died. Technically, for the last 8 years I hadn't been paying rent. I had been paying an intruder to not kick me out of my own house. I looked at the clock again. 12:30 p.m. The locksmith was pulling into the driveway. I went outside to meet him. He was a burly guy named Mike with a gray beard and a skepticism born of seeing too many domestic disputes. You got ID, lady? He asked, leaning out of his van. Yes, I said. And I have the deed. I showed him the printout from the county site on my phone and my driver's license. He squinted at it. Then he looked at the house. Nice place, he said. You locked out. Not exactly, I said. I need to change the locks. All of them. Including the back slider and the garage. Lost your keys. Stolen, I said. By a tenant who refuses to leave. He nodded slowly. Gotcha. I can do it. Expensive to do 'em all at once though. I have the money, I said. And I did. Because this month I hadn't written the check yet. While Mike worked on the front door, the drill whining in the afternoon silence, I sat on the porch steps and made the second call. This one was harder. I called Mr. Henderson. Mr. Henderson was Grandma's old lawyer. I hadn't spoken to him since the funeral. Mom had told me he retired. That he moved to Florida. That he was senile. I Googled him. He was still practicing in town. 3 miles away. Law offices of Henderson and Wright. A receptionist answered. Hi, I said. My voice cracked. I cleared my throat and tried again. Hi. My name is Stephanie Miller. Eleanor Miller was my grandmother. Silence on the line. Then a sudden shuffling of papers. Stephanie. A man's voice. Older. Gravelly. Is that you? Mr. Henderson? By God, he said. I've been trying to find you for years. Your mother said you moved to Europe. That you wanted nothing to do with the estate. She said you instructed all communication to go through her. My stomach dropped so hard I felt it in my toes. Europe. I whispered. I've been here. In the house. In the house. He sounded baffled. But Linda said, Stephanie, the trust was supposed to pay out a stipend for maintenance. Did you never receive the quarterly checks? I closed my eyes. Quarterly checks? I asked, my voice deadly quiet. How much were they? $6,000, he said. Every 3 months. To cover taxes and repairs. Sent to the trustee account. I did the math again. $24,000 a year. For 8 years. That was another $192,000. Plus the $144,000 I paid her. $336,000. She hadn't just stolen my money. She had stolen Grandma's legacy. She had stolen my safety. Mr. Henderson, I said. I need you to come over. And I need you to bring the sheriff. The hours between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. were the longest of my life. Mr. Henderson arrived at 2 o'clock. He looked older, grayer, but sharp. When he saw me, he actually teared up. You look just like Eleanor, he said softly. We spent an hour going over the documents. He was horrified. He kept muttering fraud and fiduciary breach under his breath. This is criminal, Stephanie, he said, looking at my spreadsheet. This isn't just a civil dispute. This is grand larceny. Embezzlement. Fraud by deception. I know, I said. If we file this today, he said, tapping the papers, we can freeze her assets. But the eviction, that's tricky if she claims tenancy. She doesn't live here, I said. She has a condo downtown. I have photos of her place. I have her mail forwarded there. She's not a tenant. She's a trespasser. At 3:30 the sheriff's deputy arrived. Deputy Carver. He was young, serious, and clearly uncomfortable with family drama. But Mr. Henderson knew the law. He explained the situation. He showed the deed. He showed the trust documents. Technically, Henderson said, Stephanie is the sole owner. Linda Miller has no legal right to enter this property without permission. If she has a key and she enters after being told not to, that is trespassing. And if she demands money? I asked. That, Carver said, adjusting his belt, would be attempted extortion given what I'm seeing here. So what do we do? I asked. We wait, I said. We let her come in. We let her ask for the check. I want it on record. I pulled out my phone. I set it up on the kitchen counter, propped against a vase of dried flowers. Hidden, but with a clear view of the entryway and the kitchen island where she always stood to count the money. I need you guys in the back room, I said. Just listen. Don't come out until I say the word. Carver looked at Henderson. Henderson nodded. She's strong, Eleanor's girl, Henderson said. They went into the guest room, the same room where I found the letters, and cracked the door. I sat at the kitchen island. I put the stack of letters on the counter. And I waited. 3:58 p.m. I heard the Mercedes engine. The distinctive purr of German engineering that I had paid for. Car door slam. Heels clicking on the paved walkway. The jingle of keys. He tried the lock. It didn't turn. I heard a pause. Then a rattle. She jiggled the handle aggressively. Hick. Jiggle. Thump. What the hell? I heard her muffled voice. She rang the doorbell. Once. Twice. Then a long, sustained press. Ding-dong, ding-dong, ding-dong. I stayed seated. I took a sip of water. My hand was steady. Finally, she started pounding on the wood. Stephanie. Stephanie, open this door. The key isn't working. I stood up, walked to the door, and unlocked it. I opened it just wide enough to see her. She looked perfect. Beige cashmere sweater. White jeans. Not a hair out of place. Her face was flushed with irritation. About time, she huffed, pushing past me. God, you need to fix this lock. It's jammed or something. I've been standing out there for 2 minutes. Do you know how hot it is? It was 65 degrees. She marched into the kitchen, dropping her $3,000 Louis Vuitton bag on the counter. Right next to the letters. She didn't notice them. Well, she said, turning to me, hand out. I'm in a rush, Steph. Tony is waiting for me at the club. Tony. Her new boyfriend. The one who thought she was a wealthy heiress. Hi, Mom, I said. Don't hi-mom me, I'm late, she snapped, checking her Apple Watch. Do you have the check? And please tell me you included the extra 200 for the landscaping. The homeowners association is on my back about the hedges. There is no homeowners association in this neighborhood. I stared at her. There is no HO, Mom, I said. She froze. Just for a second. A micro-expression of calculation. Don't be silly, she laughed, a brittle tinkling sound. Of course there is. I pay it. You don't see the bills because I handle the messy stuff. That's what mothers do. You handle the messy stuff, I repeated. Yes. Now the check. I really can't do this today, Stephanie. I have a migraine coming on. I leaned against the counter. I didn't write a check. The air in the kitchen changed. The temperature dropped 10 degrees. Her smile vanished. Her eyes, usually a soft hazel, turned into hard little stones. Excuse me. I didn't write a check, I said louder this time. And I'm not going to. She let out a sharp exhale through her nose. Hey. I know you're stressed. I know work is hard. But you cannot play games with the bank, Stephanie. If we miss a payment, they foreclose. Do you want to be homeless? Do you want to lose Grandma's house? After everything I've done to keep it for you? The bank, I said. Yes. The bank. Which bank? I asked. She blinked. What? Which bank holds the mortgage, Mom? Is it Chase? Wells Fargo? Bank of America? I don't see why that matters, she stammered, flushing darker. I handle the mortgage. It matters, I said, because I called all of them today. None of them have a mortgage on this property. She laughed again, but it sounded like glass breaking. Don't be ridiculous. It's a private lender. It's complicated financial structuring. You wouldn't understand. You're right, I said. I didn't understand. For 8 years. I reached out and tapped the stack of letters. So I read these. She looked down. For the first time she actually looked at the counter. He saw the handwriting. Grandma's handwriting. The color drained from her face so fast she looked like a wax figure. Where did you get those? She whispered. In your old filing cabinet. In the back of the closet. Under the tax returns from 2008. She lunged for them. She lunged. Her manicured claws snatched at the paper. I was faster. I grabbed her wrist. It was the first time I had ever physically stopped my mother. Her wrist felt thin. Fragile. Don't, I said. She yanked her arm back, rubbing it like I had burned her. You went through my private things, she screeched. Her voice went up an octave. The victim mask was sliding back into place. How dare you? I let you live here. I sacrifice everything for you. And you snoop through my personal papers. They aren't your papers, Linda, I said. I didn't call her Mom. They were addressed to me. You stole my mail. Which is a federal crime, by the way. I was protecting you, she screamed. Grandma was senile. She didn't know what she was writing. She promised that house to me. No, I said. She didn't. I picked up the top letter. She paid it off in 2015. She left it to me in a trust. You were the trustee. You were supposed to give it to me when I turned 18. You weren't ready, she yelled. You were a child. You would have sold it. You would have wasted the money. So instead you stole it? I managed it, she spat. I invested it. In what? I asked. Your Mercedes? Your condo? Tony's golf fees. I deserve that money, she shrieked. She was vibrating now. I took care of her. I changed her diapers. I wiped her ass for 2 years while you were at school. I earned that house. She owed me. There was the truth. She owed you nothing, I said calmly. And neither do I. You ungrateful little brat, she hissed. She took a step toward me. She looked dangerous. You think you can just take this from me? I have lawyers. I have connections. I will sue you for every penny. I will claim adverse possession. I will tell everyone you abused me. I will ruin you. You can try, I said. Give me the check, she demanded, holding out her hand. No. Or I swear to God, Stephanie, I will throw you out on the street tonight. I will change the locks myself. You can't change the locks, I said. Because you don't own the house. I am the trustee. Not anymore. I looked toward the hallway. Mr. Henderson? My mother froze. Her head whipped around. Mr. Henderson stepped out of the guest room. He was holding a manila folder. Hello, Linda, he said. His voice was cold. Professional. Bob, she gasped. What are you doing here? I'm here representing the Stephanie Miller Trust, he said. And reviewing the extensive evidence of embezzlement you just confessed to. Confessed. She looked wild-eyed. I didn't. This is a private conversation. You can't use this. Actually, I said, pointing to the phone on the counter. It's a recorded conversation. In a one-party consent state. In my house. She looked at the phone. Then at Henderson. Then at me. Panic set in. Real panic. Bob, please, she said, her voice dropping to a whimper. She reached out to him. You know how hard it was. You know Grandma was difficult. I borrowed some of it. I was going to pay it back. I was investing it for Stephanie's future. $336,000, Linda, Henderson said. That's not borrowing. That's a felony. I can fix this, she stammered. He turned to me. Tough baby. We don't need lawyers. We're family. I'll sign the deed over. I'll sign it over today. Just tell Bob to leave. We can work out a payment plan. I'll pay you back. I promise. Like you promised Grandma? I asked. Please, she begged. Tears were streaming down her face now. Mascara running into the cracks of her foundation. I can't go to jail, Stephanie. I'm your mother. You wouldn't do that to your own mother. I looked at her. I thought about the double shifts. I thought about the college acceptance letter I threw in the trash. I thought about the ramen noodles I ate for dinner for 3 years. I thought about the root canal I put off until my face swelled up because she needed the money for a ski trip. You're right, I said. I wouldn't do that to a mother. I paused. But I would do it to a thief. I looked at the hallway again. Deputy Carver? The color didn't just drain from her face this time. It vanished. She looked like a ghost. Deputy Carver stepped out. He wasn't smiling. Ma'am, he said. I need you to step away from the counter. No, she whispered. No. Linda Miller, Carver said, walking toward her. You are under arrest for grand larceny, fraud, and trespassing. You can't, she screamed, backing up into the refrigerator. This is my house. I pay the mortgage. We know you don't, Carver said. He reached for his cuffs. He tried to run. It was pathetic, really. She tried to bolt for the back door. But her heels slipped on the hardwood. She scrambled, flailing, knocking over a bar stool. Carver caught her easily. He spun her around. Hic. The sound of the handcuffs was the loudest thing I have ever heard. Stephanie, she screamed as he marched her out the front door. Stephanie, tell them. Tell them it's a mistake. I'm your mother. You're killing me. You're killing me. I followed them out to the porch. The neighbors were watching. Mrs. Gable from next door. The guy who walks his golden retriever. They were all standing on the sidewalk watching Linda Miller, the successful real estate agent, being shoved into the back of a squad car. She pressed her face against the glass. She was mouthing words. Ungrateful. Bitch. Please. I didn't look away. I watched until the car turned the corner. Then I looked at Mr. Henderson. What happens now? I asked. Now, he said, putting a hand on my shoulder, we file the civil suit to recover the assets. We seize the condo. We seize the accounts. We seize the Mercedes. You'll get it back, Stephanie. Maybe not all of it, but enough. He paused. And you go to college. If you still want to. I looked at the house. My house. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the porch. It needed painting. The railing was chipped. The garden was overgrown because I never had time to weed it. But it was mine. Yeah, I said. I think I will. I walked back inside. The house was quiet. For 8 years the silence in this house had felt heavy. Oppressive. Like it was holding its breath, waiting for the next disaster. Now it just felt quiet. I walked to the kitchen. I picked up the stack of letters. I picked up the rubber band from the floor. I sat down on the floor right where the bar stool had fallen. And finally I cried.